Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto and welcome to the channel if you're new. I hope you're all having a great start of the week so far, and welcome to this new video in which I'm going to cover everything you need to know for today on the crypto markets. So the New York Open has just passed and the US session has just started for the first time since Thursday last week, July the 3rd. Which is great, and you can instantly see what a change it is. I mean, if you take a look at the volume, the last time we saw this volume was at the end of Thursday, right? So we're most likely going to get some big moves. At this point of time, we're at a pretty crucial level as well. I actually tweeted about 108.1. That was an important level, and so far we've gotten a strong reaction from there. But we're also testing some important resistance levels that we have not broken above. So that's very interesting. XRP at this point of time has a lot of momentum, so we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about some altcoins that I think are interesting. Today we actually had quite a lot of scam coins as well, which I'm going to warn you for, but I will also tell you which ones might have some potential. But first, let's start off with the fundamentals. So no major economic data until Wednesday. Wednesday we have the FOMC minutes, but that's also not major. It's in no shape or form as important as the interest rate decision and the press conference and the inflation rate, of course. And then outside of that, I mean, the fundamentals so far have been pretty stable, right? If you take a look at the S&P 500, yes, it opened a little bit lower than where it closed on Thursday, but it's still very bullish. It's still in an uptrend, and there are no major fundamentals at this point of time that are causing it to drop down. Now, that is something you do need to be aware of, and in almost every video I make, I tell you about that. That there is a possibility that we're going to get some unrest regarding these tariffs and trade deals and everything that can escalate or de-escalate because of that, right? Because it can go both ways. But at this point of time, gold is down, gold is stable, but gold is down. The volatility index opened a little bit higher. But ultimately is still relatively low if you compare it since the start of May. So at this point of time, I think fundamentally there's nothing to worry about. Although I would say it's a good idea to keep a feed of news running if you are actively trading, and otherwise just have some price alerts ready. So when we're talking about Bitcoin, so why I said 108,100 was a very important level. Was for multiple reasons. First of all, we still had an imbalance there with a naked POC of the price action yesterday. So that acted as a bit of a magnet. And then we also had the 7-day rolling VWAP, which normally you would say that, if we want to have some more bullish price action, that is an area that you need to hold. So far so good. But this is, I mean, when we're talking about Bitcoin here, which as you can see is still very, very relevant for most altcoins, it's absolutely crucial that we do hold that level, right? And you can see on the 1 hour time frame here that we actually got a strong reaction here from the 1 hour trend, which we broke down earlier this afternoon. So at this point of time, it's actually still it's still pretty tight, right? Because we do need to get some sort of a reclaim of 108.6 if we want to confirm stability up here, and stability up here. Which we also had on Thursday and at the end of Wednesday last week. That is what we need if we want to get a move up higher, right? So that is by far the most important thing to watch, right? Can Bitcoin actually reclaim 108.6? And if not, then it's if we're unable to break above 108.6, then eventually we're going to drop down below the 7-day rolling VWAP. And then before you know, we're down at 106.5, which was the value area low of that price action we had here at the end of June. So that's at risk, and that is a realistic risk. I would say it is more likely that we are going to be able to reclaim this level here and that we are going to get some stability up here. I think that's most likely. But ultimately, at this point of time, I'm prepared for both scenarios. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin, and with that, well, most of the altcoin market. Some altcoins, though, are looking a little bit more interesting, notably XRP. XRP is trying to break out. This is something we spoke about this morning. This is something we spoke about yesterday, that this was a possibility. Is it really happening right now? I am not convinced yet. And the main reason why I'm not convinced, I mean, first of all, there is a lot of momentum for XRP, right? You can see XRP USDC contracts are pumping. You can see XRP USDT contracts are pumping. You can see XLM is pumping. You can see XRP itself is the strongest performer in the last 2 hours. So there's definitely something going on. However, we are still at resistance, right? You can see historically that this was the main resistance that we want, that we need to break. before we can talk about a move into 2.4. And I'm not that certain about the volume. The volume, which you can see down here, is actually pretty low. It's lower than this time we tried to break out. It's lower than this time we tried to break out. So why now, with lower volume, should we break out? And you can also see, if you take a look at the open interest down here, there is a lot of open interest. So look, I mean, if XRP is able to break above 2.32 on the 1 hour time frame and it's able to hold that, then great. But I'm not going to buy XRP here. I will only buy XRP if we're able to hold 2.32, 2.3 for a longer period of time. And at this point in time, I'm slightly leaning towards thinking that this is a bit of a fake out, and that we're going to drop back down into into areas around 2.25, 2.23. Kind of going against what I said this morning, because this morning I said, a breakout's probably going to happen. But still, I mean, I have to be honest about what I see. And when we're talking about other altcoins, like I said, there's a couple of scam coins like VIC, VIC. That's a scam coin. So, I mean, if you want to trade it, be my guest, but it's going to be very, very risky. FIS, that's a scam coin. So be aware of that as well and be very, very, very careful. And when we're talking about the other coins that have momentum at this point of time, there's not specifically one coin that I think you need to be looking at. Some of the majors like Uniswap, Chainlink, but also Aave, those look pretty good. All right, and yeah, maybe they're not going to do a 5x, but you can still do some great trading on those. So I would say, especially also in the summer now, that it's better at this point of time, at least, to focus on those, and definitely focus on XRP and XLM, because even if we fail to break out right here, there's still a lot of volume and a lot of trading opportunities. But those are my thoughts for now. That's what I think you need to know. So thank you for watching. I'll see you on my next videos, and bye.